Welcome to another episode of the Elevate Collection podcast. We're so excited because we're with an incredible human today. JRICH'S, welcome to the podcast, twins.
Love being here. Love being here. So excited.
Happy to have you. Of course, you're Elevate family, but y'all more than Elevate family. Jay Rich is a Grammy nominated audio engineer, entrepreneur, and deal maker who is sitting, thriving, enjoying life at the intersection of music, business, and technology. Let's just start for a second at Grammy nominated. Like, how did you even get here? Like, where did we start in music? Like, start at the beginning.
I think I really got into music because my dad used to work at Motown.
Motown?
Yeah, my dad used to work at Motown. He was real good friends with Barry Gordy Jr. So he used to always tell me about stories about music. So it made me get into it. And my first internship was at Mosaic Entertainment years ago. So I started under Deb Atney and India Graves. When Walker was over there, I think Nikki was still over there.
Mhm.
So that's when I started. So I started with interning. And then after that internship led to another one. And the grind started from there.
Part of the business made you want to go that direction? Like, yes, you got the internship, like you saw your dad doing it, but what part of the business, what part of the art, I guess, if you will, made you go that direction?
Well, I think the main thing was that I started as an artist and I had a producer.
Were you a country singer?
A rapper. I was a rapper, but the guy who taught me how to do music, I actually tattooed. That's the tattoo on my face. It says "Thank Phrase." So his name is Phrase. So he was like helping everybody in my neighborhood do music, and like he helped a couple people get record deals or whatever. So I was like just trying to work with him off the music, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna come at him like a engineer. Like I'm gonna help you instead of everybody else who was just trying to take. You know, so. That's how I got into that role.
So you want to
Yeah, it was
love
just
that
like,
approach.
it was just like kind of like instead of sitting around waiting to get in the booth, hey, let me come at him and be like, yo, I'll engineer for you, bro. Any help you need. And my dad gave me a computer and I gave it to him. And that's how I got into the mix. That's how I started.
I don't feel like you meet many sound engineers often. How did you pick up that skill?
Like I said, I was trying to get in there as a rapper, and then what happened is he just started telling everybody I was engineering songs I wasn't engineering. Because he was just trying to put me on. And then one day he called me to the studio and Gucci was in there and I had to engineer him. And that's it. I think I was a lot better than other engineers just because I was an artist. So I kind of knew what I wanted my engineering process and workflow to be like. So yeah, I think that's kind of like how I like got to it. And then, you start making some money,
Things change.
yeah, things change.
Was there like a turning point where you're like, okay, yes, I'm doing this for fun. Okay, now I can consider myself a professional because I got a paycheck. But was there a track or a turning point or an artist that you worked with in particular that really said, okay, like I'm doing this?
I think,
Not that all the artists you
I
were
think,
are fabulous.
working with Lil Yachty was crazy
Yeah.
because like I used to work with him back in the day and he was just recording out of like a apartment closet. And I was helping him with a couple other engineers and stuff like
Mhm.
that. And just seeing him go from that to blowing up and then seeing how different people were willing to pay for my craft after he blew up. They're like, oh, you did these songs? Okay, we'll pay you this. From seeing that made me be like, oh, okay, I'm an engineer for real. Let me lock in.
When it came to like the valuation of your services, like oftentimes, like in the music industry, specifically around like I think audio engineers or musicians in general, sometimes I believe that they're just not that I am one, but I've heard from being like friends and like family with some of the undervalue of your craft as far as like, oh, just do it for a favor, do it for exposure, things like that. Do you still get confronted with those type of quote unquote opportunities to where it's like you want to do it for a favor, do it for exposure type thing, opposed to getting paid for the craft that you have mastered?
Yeah, well, I got something I believe in called cash or credit. So if you're not getting
Mm.
cash, you need to be getting the credit. And you can't get cash if you don't got no credits. So it don't matter if you went to whatever school or whatever, and you think you so far, you big and bad, but if you don't have credits and recent credits, actually, it's not what have you done, what have you done lately, So like, what have you done? Kind of basis what you can charge for it. Now, if you got a lot of credits and you don't need credits, then you can charge more. But if you don't have any credits at all, and you need to be like, hey, what you mean what I did? Turn on the radio or look at this or, so that's what I believe in. And I'm always with like doing stuff for the passion of it because I believed in a lot of artists early on and seen them blow up. So I'm always trying to stay tapped in because if you believe on them early on and when they blow up, that's just another connection that increases your network.
Can you identify a hit like the moment you're engineering it? Are you like this gonna be the one?
I can't identify a hit, but there's two things I think I'm good at. One is I don't know a hit, but I know if a song, even if it's not mixed and it doesn't sound good, I can be like, oh yeah, that's a good song. I can hear it. Once that song got a good mix on it, that'll be a good song. And I also got a good eye for artists that I think are gonna blow up.
Now, in the world of now AI, the conversation of AI has come up quite a bit. And like there's that trending song on like TikTok.
Run.
Yeah, Run, right? And it's
Mhm.
apparently like an AI artist allegedly. Y'all fact with me because I don't know, but that's just on the TikTok streets. Is that what they said? That it's an AI artist. What are your thoughts on that artistry when it comes to the AI potentially being able to mix and master a song?
That I'm a hustler. I
Good.
figure it out to where it helps me out. Less work for me, cool.
Okay, hustler, running back. Okay, where are you from?
From Atlanta,
From Atlanta.
yeah.
What part of Atlanta?
I'm like Camp Creek
Okay.
or like Southwest Atlanta.
Okay, so then we're gonna take it back for a quick second. So the Motown connection,
Yeah.
how did that all come to be with your dad with being based here?
Well, I was born in Los Angeles.
Okay.
Yeah, and then but I moved here when I was like 2, and my dad lived in Los Angeles, and yeah, he worked at Motown with Barry Gordy Jr. And then from that, he started getting into computers, and then he moved to Atlanta, and then brought my family to Atlanta when I was like real young.
I can't imagine a better market for you to be stationed in than Atlanta because Atlanta is the epicenter of all things. I love those shirts that say Atlanta influences everything because it is the God's honest truth.
I went to Morehouse too, so
See, we got an HBCU alum right here.
uh,
I feel like Atlanta is this like beautiful, like when you talk about intersectionality, I think Atlanta literally is where everything converges. Where you've got the culture, you've got the business, you've got the tech, you've got the music, you've got the film, you've got the sports. It all intersects, or education. It all intersects here. And I've never experienced a city that I feel like has that type of intersection. Like, yeah, like LA is cool, New York's cool, Miami's cool, but there's nothing like Atlanta.
and the real estate's a lot cheaper here too.
Great place to pull up. If you need to buy some, like, let us know. All right, I have a question. We obviously advertise a lot of our services on social media. Are you advertising your services on social media? Like, if I was looking for a sound engineer, would I go into Google and be like, "Sound Engineers Atlanta," or is most of your business coming word of mouth? Like, what is your client acquisition process like?
Like I think I built up my credits, and then when I first started charging, I made a website, and I decided not to do hourly, and I was just like, I'm only doing 12-hour sessions for $1,500, and we put it on the website, and my manager put it on there, and I remember just sitting back, and it just started ding 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 one day, yeah, and then it was like from there. I think it comes from like word of mouth. You get word of mouth from when you're like just a studio engineer, and then I think when you up your level and you start working with artists that are signed to record labels,
Right.
you get into that kind of mixture of like word of mouth and you get so I think that's the pull. Yeah, I mean, and it's cool, like, but you gotta, I think with engineers, I think really what happens is they get to the point where they get with like a big gig artist and then kind of lock in. So you kind of got to get to the point where you get to that level or you're like
Missy Elliott and Timbaland Magoo. Like you always knew they
yeah,
were locked in.
yeah. I think you get to the point where you're doing like upcoming rappers, and then you find like a serious rapper, and then he locks you in. And then when that rapper locks you in, you kind of locked in, but then it kind of gives you that certified credit to where, and you're in the label system to where it makes it easier to get approached for other jobs that are kind of like on the same level of magnitude, and you can go from there. But I think the one thing to constantly, open your work is when you constantly reach back and trying to work with people. But there's other ways you can there's other websites you can use to like be a part of their database that people use to book engineers, and then just like constantly making content on IG and stuff like that. That's a way I think it funnels into.
Where do you think audio engineers go wrong? Like, where do you think the misstep happens or the mismanagement of self happens?
That's a big question. Where audio engineers go wrong?
Like, cause I'm just thinking like, like when you put yourself in this position, you've ever heard of the phrase, like you teach people how to treat you, right? Like, is there a misstep where like audio engineers fall into this habit of doing XYZ, or I don't know, maybe it's not asking for payment up front, like any type of misstep that audio engineers you believe are taking that you maybe wish you would have learned sooner opposed to later?
Or maybe even a piece of advice for upcoming.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like what you said. It's like, I think just the idea of payment is just so uncomfortable to talk about that I think they missed that step, and you got to think, like, imagine an audio engineer that's locked in with an artist, and a year goes by and they make all these songs that get millions and millions of plays, right? But both of these people are young and upcoming, and they have no money. They're just, he's like, yo, I'm gonna believe in this artist. I got a studio. This is my best friend. I'm gonna let him record, After a year, this artist could be famous, right? Off these songs they recorded. And the engineer is not owed any money. Like, you gotta just basically go off the fact that this artist is gonna show love and keep him on board and then give him a salary, and I think that's where it gets tricky. It's like in the American dream of music, you're sitting in your college dorm room and it's the engineer, it's the producer, or it's the artist. And the engineer is the one who is, might have to spend the most on equipment, has the place to record, to keep the lights on, the rent, whatever. And everybody blows up. The producer, because he gets percentages of the song. The artist, because they wrote the lyrics and they distributed the song. And there's like no back pay and like the engineer is basically like, it's kind of left out of that situation.
So audio engineers aren't ever on like publishing rights, or you're not getting like royalties, or is that
there's something now with the Music Modernization Act, where we're not owed anything, but we pretty much can vie for pretty much a LOD on Sound Exchange to get a percentage of the featured artist royalty. And there's also something called the non-featured artist fund, where it's not an engineer, but as you can credit yourself as like a vocal producer or additional production. And this gives you access to that fund. But no, it's not like how it is, and I get it because, it's a tricky subject because also, that scenario that I just said isn't always a normal scenario. Normally what happens is the artist or the producer come together and they pay the engineer in the studio. So we're getting paid regardless that time. And then, so it's like we get our money up front.
Right.
Okay, that's right.
But so if that happens, then they're like, oh, why we gotta give you a percentage? We paid you to do all these songs and only one of them blew up. I gotta pay you. Why should you get a percentage of everything? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
So in that sense, it gets a little tricky. But I'm saying how I grew up. We found artists, we had a producer, and I was an engineer, and we was all trying to thug it out. And I was paying for studio sessions out my pocket, going broke.
Well, bootstrapping, we love it.
The artists blow up, but that doesn't mean, because what also happens is the artists blow up, but then also now the artists blow up. He like, oh yeah, your guy's fire, but he's not as good as our guy. Our guy is the best. Why would we bring him? We could keep our engineer in house. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it makes sense. So it's just a tricky situation.
I have to say though, you go to work for your clients.
Yeah.
You're always posting about upcoming stuff, things that are coming out. And I will tell you, I have listened. I'm not like a full album girl. Like I listen to New Music Friday, but I have listened to whole albums from artists that you've posted just because I know that you were the sound engineer behind it. And I'll be like, and then I recognize new songs that I never would have even heard. But like we talked about one at dinner, and I listened to the whole album after dinner, like the whole album. And I was sending Alex like songs that I probably wouldn't have recognized had it not been for you. So you really are like worth every penny because you're going to work for your artist and really putting on for your artist and your city, and you're proud of the work that you're doing too. So
Yeah.
shout out to you, J Rich.
What's authentic?
Yeah, no, definitely. It's definitely passion led. Anything I do for sure.
Speaking of passion led, this brings me to Track It.
Mm.
What solution does Track It do for the entertainment industry?
Pretty much Track It is a factoring service for the entertainment industry. That's kind of like what we lead off with, but it's so much more than that. Andrew works effortlessly with the platform, and pretty much it serves as, when engineers get into the music industry, they don't know what to charge. They don't know, there's different systems that are hard to register for when it's time to get paid. And we kind of work as that middle ground. We do all the negotiations we just ease that pain. And it's like a service. It's a platform. So as soon as you sign up, you got an invoice, you submit your invoice on the platform, and then we take it from there. We're on comms back and forth with the label. And once you get, certain things locked in and your invoice gets approved, then we send you the money. Boom. And then we collect the money on the back end. So that's the benefit of Track It. A lot of times, engineers and a lot of people in the music industry are facing like net 30s, net 60s, net 90s. And if you do some work, and you just had a newborn baby, or if you got bills to pay, you can't wait $60 for $1,000.
Yeah.
So we realized that gap, and it's been doing well. I think we're up to a couple $1 million in invoices collected.
Congratulations. And Track It isn't your only venture. What other ways are you using the influence that you've garnered through the music that you've been a part of to build out other ideas and create a legacy?
I am a founder of a company called Easy Track, and what it's turning out to be is a pre-release distribution, pre-release compliance distribution platform.
Through what?
Pretty much before you release a record, and make sure that you're signed up and registered with all the other things that you need to be registered for to make sure you get paid for your music.
Is that like the publishing, like the ASCAP type of thing, the publishing, those type of things?
Yeah. It's
Distribution?
separate, but yeah, it's ASCAP because it's a PRO. So you got to make sure you register to your PRO. You got to make sure, just walk you through what Sound Exchange is and what they collect for, what the MLC is and what they collect for. And, just even making sure you credit yourself properly when you're registering these records to everything, an example is in the non-feature artist fund. If you are a background vocalist, you collect for that fund. But guess what? If you're an artist and you do ad-libs, you are your own background vocalist. So you have to make sure you credit yourself not only as the primary artist, but as your own background vocalist so that you can make sure you get access to money in that fund.
So artists are probably leaving money on the table.
Every day.
That is crazy. So if
Every
you
day.
don't list yourself as the background vocalist as well, if you're doing your ad-libs,
You're missing out.
And there's a
Beyonce
ton of
do it,
ad
though.
libs. There's a ton of ad libs
ad-libs be
in your
my
genre.
favorite part.
That is my favorite part.
Yeah, it's just stuff like that that I noticed, and that's why I've been passionate. I mean, there's like 100,000 songs that get released every day, and 70 to 80% of those songs are released by independent artists, and 60 to 70% of those artists don't register the songs properly.
Oh my
and
gosh.
after 2 to 3 years, all the money goes into a black box, and you can never collect it. So, and that black box get redistributed to the top 10%, the people who own top 10% of the market share of the music industry. So if you're not collecting your stuff, your money is just going into a black box, and some guy that's already rich is getting paid off of it.
But how do these young artists have access to, how do they get access to
This information.
this information to know that this even exists to protect themselves when they are bootstrapping. They are like just
I think
trying
that's
to create
why I
and put it
got
out.
passionate about Easy Track. And like that's trying to kind of like what I want to do. So I focus on like everybody else is kind of focused on, distributing music and making sure that their music is promoted when it's distributed. I want to make sure that you know exactly what you need to sign up for to get paid for. And then to make sure that other people that you're doing the music with are paid for.
Yeah.
I think a lot of disputes happen in the music not intentionally. Just people don't know.
You
Like
don't know what you don't know.
you don't know what you don't know. You know? People are like, yo, you owe me money. He's like, I do?
I didn't know what you were doing.
What? From where? From this check? This one had my name on it. Why don't give you a check with your name on it? Like, why you want some of my money? My money gone.
I felt that.
Yeah.
All right. So we met you because we were doing a dinner together.
Yeah.
So what has brought you into the event space?
I am a vice president of strategic partnerships for Popstar Ventures.
What is Popstar Ventures?
Stage fun. And we pretty much invest in the creative economy, and creative intelligence. I just like the niche of like sports and entertainment that we're focused on.
Right.
Just really helping different founders in a different way, the different companies that we're investing, and the talent that we're advising to get into the space. So many people don't know that they have a name and the cash flow to do really well in VC. And so I just got real passionate about it, and so we've been doing great events. The event we did was crazy. Yeah,
Right.
that was super dope. Did a couple more with MasterCard, JP Morgan, a couple in New York. Doing another one soon. Yeah, so yeah, I love it. I love the putting the people in the room and kind of like talking about things that you think is uncomfortable and hard to talk about, but
Right.
it's not, and setting yourself up for generational wealth, I think is incredibly important.
It is important, and which is so apropos for this exact moment because, as you know, our tagline of this entire podcast is where influence meets legacy, trademarked. Where influence meets legacy. What is the legacy or the impact you hope to leave when it's all said and done?
My goal, I got beef with the black box. I want to be known as someone that came through and kind of like help restructure the infrastructure of how people get paid in music.
We got another disruptor on our hands, which we absolutely love.
That's
No.
what kind of like I want to be known for, but also dropping some hit records and being a
Hey,
good guy.
you already are a good guy.
Good guy for sure. Can we talk about any of the people who you've worked with?
Yeah, for sure.
Tell us some of your favorites.
I like working with Offset. I was Yeat's first manager. I worked with Lil Baby very early on in his career, like one of his first engineers.
Like pure cocaine era.
Like before that, probably.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Y'all know
Yeah,
that.
like Lil Yachty, I was his first engineer. Yeah, who else is the first? Yeah, I like working with those guys. I did a lot of records with JT, Twerkulator.
Circulate. Like,
I did Take a Walk with Trippie Redd. I like that song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, who are you Grammy nominated for?
Clout, Offset, and Cardi B. Grammy nominated. Taste just went diamond.
diamond.
I love Taste. But the whole Kiari album, I know you were heavily involved in that, and the entire Kiari album.
Outstanding. We'll link that below. We'll also need to probably link below a little like dictionary for all the acronyms you use because I was like, I don't know what that means.
Yes, please do that.
We're going to need to do that because he dropped, like, we're talking on the music industry. I think it'll be really important for us to kind of get those down there. We're here to inspire through storytelling, and we want to make sure that y'all understand the stories too. So we'll definitely do that because I was like, I don't know what that acronym means, but I'm sure it's important.
But if you're in the music industry or in the service industry or anything like that, and you're just looking for education and resources, like reach out, especially if you're in Atlanta. JRICH has the pulse on Atlanta. So anything you need help with, but truly like one of the good ones
is if there's anything that a listener or anyone in our community can do to move your needle forward in the season of life for you, what could that be? What would your big ask be right now?
Join the Elevate community.
No one's ever done that. Oh,
We
you
love
should.
you, twin.
We love you so much. We're so grateful, so happy that J Rich ET took some time with us. We would love to stay and chat with y'all so much longer, but we got to get in the booth. So,
Wait, I have one like bonus question.
ooh,
All right, who is the dream artist who you haven't worked with yet, who you would love to work with?
come on now.
I'm not gonna lie. It'll probably either be Drake. Like 40 gave me some as his engineer. And when I was first like working with Offset, we were on the Drake and Migo tour.
Mhm.
And like I remember him giving me some like crazy game for like the travel setup. And I was like, I can't believe he even talked to me. So like to do a record with him, really to do a record with 40 and Drake and like be in the room and they like really listening to my like 40 really like, damn, that was hard, J Rich. I think that would be
That'll be
hard.
the
Yeah, I'd be like, ah, shit. 40 said I'm hard.
Well, bring us because we love what Drake and Bobby did.
Saying, come on.
We'll put Drake on the Elevate podcast. And just so you know, Drake's song "Elevate" is a huge inspiration to us, and we say it all the time. Our only obligation is to tell it straight.
That's why y'all got to do the remix on the instrumental.
We have to, because listen, I can't tell you how many times I'm disappointed, like we're hosting something and I'm on the mic or something like that. And I'm like, guys, like we're Elevate. And our only obligation is to tell it straight. And people don't get it. I'm highly disappointed.
Shout out Drake.
Shout out Drake.
We'll see you soon.
I'll meet you in the studio.
All right, y'all. Thanks so much, J Rich, for being here. We'll catch you on the next episode of the Elevate Collection podcast.